Some stuff's not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. We call it the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Ooh. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Not necessarily in that order, but so be it.
Right.
This week, Vic, I have to start out by talking about the issue of our good brother Kanye West in the news consistently, with everybody and their mother having to respond to his postings about slavery. You know, there's been a bunch. I know you've seen some of it, Vic. I mean, just without re-reporting all the specifics. You've been taking in all this stuff with Kanye, the whole issue with him. He came on. He said that slavery was a choice. He talked about that he got liposuction because he didn't want people to laugh at him like Rob. Just a bunch of behavioral issues, Vic. So I don't know, just before I even get... have you been noticing it?
I'm sorry, man. Look, man. Look. Okay. I believe there's a narrow bandwidth of neutrality. When I say that, most people come into this world thinking everybody is really in this wide area of thinking similar. And I say, well, the wake-up call will come when you go like, you know, history got us here with a lot of leadership. And you're reminded that a lot of people had a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. And they say freedom of expression. But they did not say you have to qualify your freedom of expression first. They said, I get to talk. So success has taught me something, that a lot of people are successful. And they didn't have to necessarily equate that to their mindset. And then some people are terribly smart. Mindset, man. And some people are geniuses and paupers and can't get a living. I'm just reminded of, I said, this is the greatest reality show. And it's only going to get better. And you guys, it's like, are you ready for the download? I kept saying this. Are you ready for the download? Can you handle this? And I'm going, Kim goes like this. I'm standing by my man. Should anybody else?
Half the black women are already mad at her because she got with her brother. See, all the dynamics, what cracks me up about Kanye and Kim is all the dynamics that no matter when you're discussing it, or who you're discussing it with. Right. There's a bunch of hidden dynamics that people are responding to. If you're talking to a young Jewish person, they have their own dynamics relative to a young black person versus to a young Armenian person. I mean, there are cultural things. The sisters are kind of pissed that he's with her. The international folks, that don't bother them at all. No. A bunch of them. No. You know, and and all of this goes into people's evaluation of him. So there we go. They're responding to it because of that. That's my whole point, Vic. My whole point about Kanye, and my point on this today is why this is really common and really sad. Is that people are focusing so much on the message and not on the messenger. And what Kanye has really been doing to me, Vic, it's been a cry for help. I say this because, and let me preface this too, I'm not a Kanye West fan. I play some of the songs, but I'm not a big Kanye West fan or any of that. I do end up following a lot of what he does because he's in the news. Right. He's in the media. So my response, my issues with Kanye today, Vic, have to do with my 30 years as a pediatrician, doing mostly emergency. Right. I can recognize people who are in the midst of psychological stress. That's what this man is. The reason why you don't see me jumping on Kanye is because every time I look at him,
right,
I see signs of the stress. And he's not the only one. I'll go on record because I'm not saying it to call the folks out, but saying that they deserve maybe our empathy, if not sympathy, maybe our empathy and just what they're going through because it's an issue of mental illness. Markel Fultz, that's currently on the 76ers, is another example.
right.
People don't want to talk about it, but these are people that we see in the media who are going through psychological, potentially psychiatric type issues. Kanye has gone, when you've had a quote-unquote breakdown
Right.
or a psych hospitalization,
Right.
of what I understand, he's had more than one.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you something about the person's inner strength, ability to cope with things. So
absolutely.
Kanye's a person I think who deserves our empathy. And I believe there's learning there for a couple reasons. And I said this about Michael Jackson before and other famous people. When you see them have troubles, recognize what their celebrity did not do for them. I'll say it again. When you see them in their struggles, recognize what their celebrity did not do for them. It doesn't keep your loved ones living. It doesn't give you true love and affection. And so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
What it does give you access is the more ways to act out and be extreme, more drugs, more alcohol, more everything. So it allows you the freedom of a lifestyle that can focus merely around your indulgence. So there it goes. So we know, therefore, of unhappy, successful people. That's a cliche.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
look.
a cliche.
Let me say this. I remember the first thing. Does he have more than enough resources to get the assistance he needs? Specialized assistance, focused assistance, right?
That's the blessing, even though I would also say that usually when you're in the throes of that kind of emotional disease, you're not so empowered.
Money makes no difference.
But we say that because our own personal experience is with people who, and again, most people who don't have those resources. As far as I've said before, as a doctor, as far as I know, there is no good mental health coverage in the whole United States of America. I will say it again, or show it to me.
So people will.
Kaiser's
What?
was probably one of the best, and still is inadequate.
So
Wholly inadequate.
So I remember a quote, and I apologize if I get this wrong or not quite accurate. And it's an old school actor and very well known, Henry Fonda. I remember Jane Fonda giving what they call her kind of, included with this whole total program about how great her father was, and said he was a better father on film than he was at home.
Well, somebody's writing that. That makes sense.
See, so and
I would hope.
And look, here's the part. There are people we drive by who are way worse than Kanye. They don't have a voice, and nobody's going to listen to them. Should we set aside special conditions for Kanye?
No. I think we should I think we should have special conditions for all of them.
Yeah.
My point being that I think that we need to take a moment to stop and look around it. Because I'm going to tell you as a doctor, you're just missing the amount of mental illness, depression that is around you. There is so much depression. I don't remember the latest stats, but I know that in the course of their lifetime, most people will experience at least one major depressive episode.
Right.
In the course of their lifetime. People get incapacitated all the time.
Right.
So my point being, I wanted to make sure that I emphasize the stress of mental illness on the person, the family, and that we try to at least work on that empathy. I don't hear that coming out about Kanye, and I'm sure that's because of so many of the things that he's been involved in that way. So I don't hear that coming out about Kanye, and I wish I did.
Right.
I wish I did. Okay. Weekly Trump disaster update, you guys, part 2 of the news today. Let me tell you, what can I say? You know, if you go back to my broadcast of 5/22/17, and I'm about to get that one up on Amazon Prime, the big Trump prediction broadcast, I'm getting the big Trump prediction shows up on Amazon Prime Day.
Okay.
But I told you then, I said Trump's story would continue to evolve all the way up until the day and after he's impeached. That's one thing that's so different from him and the other people. Anyone else would have resigned. But Trump's not going to resign. He's going to fight. And because he's going to fight, that means that he's going to get extra ill will. I've already predicted that they're going to try him for treason after he's removed from office.
Right.
Okay, that he's going to be tried. I predicted jail time for Jared Kushner. So go and look at that and see where you think it's headed. But I think my predictions so far are the most accurate of any network. Because, first of all, they don't have the guts, well, they might say claim the responsibility to make predictions, but I think at some point you have to just acknowledge the obvious.
Right.
Like, you know, like I've always said, Trump makes sense if you assume he's guilty. All you have to do is assume he's guilty, and everything else makes sense. I've never seen anyone get this amount of a pass in all the media. Even the media that criticize him still stresses the proof hasn't been there. If you had this much proof that your old lady was cheating on you, you'd be packing her shit. Okay? I'm just saying that. Or if you had this much proof that your 16-year-old was sexually active, you'd be waiting for them when they got home from school. Okay? Ready to talk. Okay? So I don't know how much proof you need.
Right.
But the new normal continues. That's the way I call it. I call it the new normal, Vic. And as the Trump camp, they're circling the wagons and they're preparing the war. That's what they're doing. Bringing on Giuliani, who's an idiot.
No, wait.
Now, see what happens. He used to be a good lawyer. I
want you to take your time and breathe.
Okay, the former mayor,
Mr. G.
He also is the one supposedly who crafted the travel ban, which they said was written so poorly. What's amazing is when you hear the academics, the attorneys, the judges say that these motions are written poorly with typos and errors and all that. They're talking about stuff like that. This is junior high shit.
You know why?
Giuliani can't even get that right. Why, Vic?
Okay. The system is set up that you have checks and balances, not from your associates, but most of them have people who are great writers, like executive assistants, people who actually do that. But because the swamp, as they call it, is full of leaks, they probably don't even want to trust their assistant secretary to read over what they're doing for the grammaticals, much less the layout of what it's supposed to. And they don't trust anybody. So they just hop over it and take the hit. They take the hit on it laid out, but they get it out to stimulate their base. And I said, notice people will be more forgiving now. And they said, well, I'm not worried about his spelling. They're giving Trump a pass.
Like I said, it's amazing what people are forgiving, you know, of, and that's what it goes to show you. Even though I'm not. See, I don't think that I would shelter and hide my mass murdering child.
Right.
I think I would bite the bullet and take him and check him in.
Right.
Just for the benefit of the world. We don't know.
Of course.
But I think that a bunch of y'all would just lie and hide your mass murdering child. And with the argument being, that's my child. And that's why we want to put you under the jail with them. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because that ain't the way to handle it.
Right.
At some point, you just have to call out stuff. But
right.
So it is. So the president surrounds himself with more people like Giuliani, which makes you think that it's going to be a stupid fight all the way out because he's gearing up for war, but he's gearing up with a bunch of idiots that are going to make a laughingstock of everything legally. So
right.
If you get to watch all that. I've started calling it the uncabinet. Like the old Uncola commercials.
Right.
The 70s. I call it the uncabinet. And Giuliani's now part of the uncabinet. And they get to watch, because right now where you sit is the president's attorney, or whatever he was, because that's certainly in doubt if he was really acting as an attorney, went to one of the worst law schools in the country, supposedly, who just admits anybody who pays. Well, he's the first to plead the fifth.
Right.
And everybody knows that what's coming to a head is the president is going to be subpoenaed because he's going to fight. He's not going to give in. He's going to be subpoenaed. He's already indicated he's going to try to fight the subpoena.
Right.
That's already been done with Clinton.
Right.
Previous episodes, the president cannot. So he's going to be subpoenaed. That's going to lead to dog fights, and it may be some Supreme Court showdowns.
Okay.
We will have to see.
Right.
But that's where it's heading. As part of it, we got to watch this weekend the president become the laughingstock. I'll show you the one from Saturday Night Live with Stormy. First of all, okay, go back and watch it. So this past week, Saturday Night Live was a cameo fest.
Right.
They had Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
They had Jimmy Fallon. I mean, they had they had a bunch. I said Scarlett Johansson. They had of course, Alec, Baldwin. Mm-hmm. But they also had Stormy Daniels.
Right.
There's the picture right there as herself and saying the storm. So she basically went on. She said, storms are coming or something like that. Storms are brewing.
Right.
So I thought about that for a moment. I said, again, we had a historical new normal. A porn star had just gone on national television to threaten the President of the United States. I'll say that again. A porn star. And by the way, I went and looked, and it wasn't my favorite porn, but a porn star just went on national television to threaten the President of the United States. Mm-hmm. And that is your new normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As part of that, and for you to notice, a bunch of the right-wing Fox folks turning on the president. Laura Ingraham, Neil Cavuto have been pretty vocal in terms of what they've been showing on Fox.
Right.
Laura Ingraham, they basically calling out the president about the lies. And the Cavuto's talking about the swamp.
Isn't it supposed to be a clean, unearthing, basically saying nothing associated with traditional politics and politicians? It's supposed to be totally opposite. That's what they're waiting for, right? In other words, we hate that other side so much. We'll take in all the things that you're dealing with, but just don't jump on the other side. We can get on you about your conduct as a husband. We can get on you about, hey, you changed your mind. Get on it, but don't give in to the dark side. So I want to ask you, who's the dark side? Because, there's some toe dancing out there, man. And quietly as it may seem, and I'm not following it all the time, the Democrats getting the pass. All they have to do is keep blaming. What are you doing to deliver? And then wait until an election to say, look, we'll have more seats and then we'll do this. I said, and deliver what?
Well, that's the issue because the Democrats haven't really capitalized.
Right.
Even the independents are scrambling. There's Trump, which you hate, and then there's essentially nothing else, and you're going to have to make it all, which maybe that's the point that you should be adjusting to. You're going to have to get more involved, become part of it, and help to craft the next new wave. Because if you're going to sit around and wait for them to do it for you, well, there's a saying, some folks waiting on a change ain't got enough sense to come in out of the rain. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the good news. The bad news. And the other shit.